Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind UK. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. I want to say that if you are a cast member of the show or any of the shows that I watch, do not consider my reactions to the edited TV show as a replacement for an assessment or therapy. You deserve an in-person professional. Let's watch.
What was wrong with you today?
Obviously, I knew that one of your connections was going to be there today.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt I just felt weird.
I just want to make sure you're okay.
But I need to let you know why I'm annoyed or why I'm
Okay, good. So they are seemingly heading into the conversation, and I was a little worried that Demi might present in a foul mood, although I think it might be justified, but it could set things in motion that could ruin the relationship because they're on such a thin foundation. I don't understand why he doesn't immediately just have a conversation with her and say, like, look, this is what, get out ahead of it.
Do you know what I mean?
It is late though, maybe we should just go to bed.
Ollie. So obviously when he's having your chat and I'm talking to Jasmine.
Was he joking? What was going on there? It's late. So we're seeing a lot of ticks in the column that he is very avoidant of real conversations. Is it global to his personality, or is it just with Demi? Is he trying to avoid admitting he's not into Demi, or is he, I don't know. Or I suppose we could add to the speculation that he's not on the show legitimately and he just wants to coast and he doesn't really care about Demi. That fits with all the data. But I tend not to prioritize that speculation, that conceptualization, because, I don't know, it just seems unfair to assume that. But, it's on the list. But I think given what we've seen thus far, if we assume that he's there legitimately, and if we assume that he legit, at least up until the party, was very much into Demi and was planning on marrying her, that he has a style of dealing with conflict by just very quickly sweeping it under the rug before the topic even comes up. He's just like, avoid, 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 avoid. And for people like that, their traumas will explain it. The amount of maybe violence in their family that came up whenever there was tension. We can use it as a jumping off point. I can think of a lot of clients who grew up in a family where at any moment things could become very escalated, usually between their parents, but sometimes between a parent and the children. And one of the children, my client as a child, would learn that the only way to stay safe is to avoid any tension at all costs. And obviously that can really shoot you in the foot later on. But okay, they're continuing the conversation. So I don't have a lot of confidence this is going to work out because I think Ollie is probably going to say like, huh? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And I also don't necessarily trust Demi to lay it out in a clear manner. If it were Freddie or maybe Bobby and Jasmine, there seem to be some more straight shooters, people who are more clear in their communication and are able to stand firmly in their statements. Although I don't know that about Freddie and Bobby and Jasmine. They might have difficulty with that too, but she has exhibited difficulty with standing on a firm foundation and just saying something. So let's see what happens.
What was wrong with you today?
Obviously, I knew that one of your connections was going to be there today.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt I just felt weird.
I just want to make sure you're okay.
But I need to let you know why I'm annoyed or why I'm
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the way she says it's really unclear what she's saying. Now, maybe he understands what she's getting at, but the sentences are all kind of half-formed, and if I were Ollie, I might just be thinking she's saying that it was just a little irksome or a little weird to see Ollie talking to Kat. But that is not the topic sentence. The topic sentence is the way you were after you talked to Kat felt very distancing. And the fact that you didn't want to connect with me after you didn't. She talked about how he doesn't do PDA. He just kissed her hand right there. I don't know if I showed that, but yeah, I mean, if PDA is on one end of the spectrum, he's on the other. I wouldn't be surprised if people who didn't know wouldn't think that they even knew each other. The way that he would get away from her as soon as possible, and his body language around Demi was just so cold, really. Now, Demi wasn't being PDA-ish either in terms of the edit, so we don't know how he would respond if she were to reach out, but he was definitely the more aloof one, you know?
It is late though, maybe we should just go to bed.
Ollie. So obviously when you're having your chat and I'm talking to Jasmine, I can't see, she can.
And then Demi says, so when you were talking to Kat, I couldn't see, but Jasmine could. And he's saying, oh, so she could see us, but you couldn't. Yeah, okay.
Or she could see us, but you
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. But I was trying not to, I don't really want to zoom into that, but there was like a lot of laughter.
Between me and Catherine.
See, this is indirect, so we can use this as a jumping off point. Think in your mind, pause the video if you want to, and think of a more direct statement that she could say. Now, a lot of people will communicate indirectly. You know, as long as you get there eventually, no harm, no foul. It just makes the conversation a little confusing, maybe a little longer than it needs to be. And maybe sometimes it softens the blow to be indirect. But you can pause it. But moving forward, a more direct statement, I think, would be, so when you were talking to Kat, which is totally fine, nothing wrong with that, I didn't see what's happening, but I heard a lot of laughter. I'm not accusing you of anything, but it did worry me that maybe you regretted me being with me and you wanted to be with Catherine. Also, I'll tell you what goes on in my head. Our bodies are different, and I've been telling the cameras in interviews about this, so I should tell you that I wonder if you're attracted to me, or if you, upon seeing Catherine, if you want to be more with her or something. You've said nothing along those lines, and you've been very loving and affectionate with me, but I just want to let you know, and so if you do want to still be with me, if you could reassure me, that would be more direct. Also, after you came back, you didn't really tell me what the two of you talked about. You know, maybe you're not into PDA or something, but it seemed like you were particularly distant. And to tell you the truth, I was being a little grumpy, so maybe you're giving me space or something. I don't know. And then when I tried to talk with you sort of about it, you grabbed Bobby and went over there, and I don't know what you're talking with Bobby. You don't have to tell me, but what's going on? Where are you? If you're in the same place, then great. Just that's all you have to say, I suppose. But I'm just wondering what's going on in your head. That'd be more direct. That was a lot. She could have just said like a sliver of that, and that would be more direct. But instead, all she is saying is, I couldn't see what, when you were talking to Catherine, I couldn't see. And I heard a lot of laughter. That's all she's saying. And if you're Ollie and you're trying to avoid, or you're oblivious, or both, it's one or the other, then you would say something like, oh, okay, you couldn't see. All right, moving on, because she's not being direct.
I was trying not to, I don't really want to zoom into that, but there was like a lot of laughter.
Between me and Catherine? Was there? I'm a funny guy. But it wasn't flirty laughter, that's what you're thinking. It was nothing like that.
Right, so he probably thinks he's being accused of something, the way that she's wording it. She's smiling, which helps, but she's like, I didn't see the two of you talking, and I heard a lot of laughter. We know that she's not accusing him of something, or at least I assume she's not. But from his perspective, I guess given how oblivious and or avoidant he is hearing that, and if that's all you're hearing, then you're just like, oh, was I not supposed to laugh with her? Is that a bad thing? So then he responds to that, and he says, it's not a flirty thing, the laughter. That doesn't get at what she's concerned about, right? So if she were more direct, it could help. But both are true, and when I see couples, these are the things that I often find are helpful to focus on for them, is each of them are playing a part in the interaction, in the system, in the reciprocal feedback loop that leads to the problem. And from the outside looking at this couple, they both are contributing. She's not being direct, and she's also kind of being avoidant as well. Not in this moment, but previously. Because she could have, as her discomfort was mounting, which I think was happening over the span of a number of hours, she could have grabbed him and pulled him aside like, we got to talk, that kind of thing. But I think he's more to blame for the overall thing because he didn't intuit. So that's his side, is he could intuit that Demi would need some reassurance, or at the very least, even if he didn't talk to Kat, that Demi would want some indication that he still wants to be with her and that he shouldn't, in the middle of a conversation, just grab Bobby and go talk with him. So, yeah, I would at least attribute 60 to 70% of the problem to his side. But each of them, if they were to change their side, it would potentially lead to a path that could repair. So they're both causing the problem. He should be able to intuit that even the fact that she's bringing this up, that there's more reassurance or more that he needs to do to repair.
I promise you. But you did go a bit quiet.
Should I not? Yeah, but what am I supposed to do?
Nah.
All right, let's pause there. If you want to see the rest of this video, become a member of the YouTube channel by clicking the join button below. Otherwise, please take care of yourself, seriously, because you deserve it. You really, really do.